So this is going to be a bit of a mixed bag kind of video because I spent so long yesterday trying to work on this draft for a project I'm working on, and my hands, my wrists are hurting so much today. So I figure doing a video might actually be a good idea just to kind of give my wrist a break and just kind of exercise my mouth a little bit. So I guess right now it's a little bit of a couple of things. So Bigfoot Bill 2 has launched, of course, and it's not even 24 hours yet, and it's already at over 46,000, which I like because I got the Bigfoot Bill first book and I really enjoyed it. And from what I understand, I think he changed the first book, including some of the material inside. So it's a new edition that he's also offering that you can get along with book number 2. What was really cool, I think, is the fact that the cover was done by Sean Gordon Murphy. Now, I will be quick to admit I'm not a Batman fan, so I've not read his White Knight series, but I cannot deny that the man's work is impressive. So seeing this cover makes me excited for when he eventually gets his own project up and going to at least see what's going on it. And then there's what I like to call, I guess, water is wet. But before we get that, just another thing that I like and that I find interesting and I just kind of wanted to share out. And that is this, which is Drawing Force. Now, this is a drawing website that I've taken on this year. And so far, it's been really nice. It's a lot of videos. It's a monthly subscription, but you could also pay for like a year subscription. But essentially, it is, it's about drawing and about drawing the human figure. So, and looking at, here's the pricing for it, but it's about drawing the body in a way where you can see the movement. So it's basically geared a lot toward animation and the way that animators draw the way that the body moves. But, I like to draw and I don't want to be an animator, but I just loved the idea of doing it because one of the problems that I know for me that I'm having is looking at the way that the muscles move, because it's like you can do all the anatomy that you want. And trust me, I have so many anatomy books and anatomy programs, and, I've gone through a lot of anatomy and stuff over the years. But one of the problems I've always had in drawing is making the body look a lot more organic and not really stiff. And so I took this on to just kind of help me with that. And so far, it's actually done a really good job. So yeah, that's what I like. Bigfoot Bill 2 and Drawing Force. I like those things. So back to the water is wet, in which I looked at titles of articles and I said, of course, because starting with Mark Ruffalo talking about Trump being public enemy number 1, of course he said that. The man has rarely had a moment where he's not said a stupid thing. Then there is I did see this because I saw a couple of videos on this. I don't know anything about this website, The Gamers, and I couldn't even be bothered to do a whole video on it because it's another thing of course, it's the same thing with Joker, this idea of turning Sonic gay. It's the same thing that they did with Joker. They had a movie that they wanted people to watch. People did not go watch that movie. They instead watched another one. There was the Joker and Sonic. people went to go see those movies anyway. So once they determined that they couldn't stop people from watching the movies, watching these movies, they then turned around and they wanted to claim them. That's literally it. All of a sudden, Joker is supposed to be about the dangers of toxic masculinity. And, now, Sonic should be gay because that's exactly what kids worry about when it comes to watching these television shows. It's it's Tuesday, which means water is wet. And the worst takes ever are always going to be the worst takes ever. And then I saw that Amber Heard has disabled her Instagram comments. That's another thing of course she did, because, you've been abusing your ex-husband, but really you're the victim. Because of course you are, honey. It literally is the way that things like this work. And guess what? Because she's a woman, it's going to work. It's one of the things that really kind of bothers me about this attitude that people have. It's the attitude of everything a man does is wrong. And it's why I don't like feminism. And it's why, I look through history and I even challenge, the first wave of feminism. Because there's a lot of things that it supposedly gave us, but it came at the expense of what the majority of women wanted. And it set the stage for currently where now we are, eroding certain societal norms that should not be eroded for the sake of doing what you want to do. And now we end up with situations like this where, we have all the Me Too situations and innocent people are being accused and innocent people are having their lives destroyed because of an accusation. No proof, just accusation. That bothers me. But, it's something that I've seen since a lot of this stuff has happened. And it is another thing of water is wet, because as long as the crazies are running the insane asylum, nothing will ever make sense. The last thing, of course, on water is wet is this, of course, Disney to introduce first Pixar LGBT character in Onward. Now, I saw that yesterday as well. And that was another situation where it was sort of like, of course. And at this point, it should not be a surprise because Disney keeps doing this, because apparently this is becoming a Disney marketing tactic. But Disney desperately wants to be successful in China. Therefore, all of this is completely virtue signaling, because it's all going to be done in a way where they can take it out in China. So it won't matter anyway, because none of this is them being stunning and brave. All of this is to try to get woke points and try to sell tickets. And it is a matter of trying to enforce an agenda. I can't necessarily say get woke, go broke, but it is kind of that to a degree, because what ends up happening is they push for agenda and they begin to turn regular people off. Now, I have been on record as saying there's very little I trust modern Disney on. And one of the things I do not trust them on is when they put out their own numbers, because I believe wholeheartedly, because of the arrogance of it being Disney, because of the arrogance of them believing that they can do no wrong, I do believe that they fudge the numbers, and I do believe they do that. But yeah, that's kind of like neither here nor there. It's literally, I look at this and I saw, like a video title, and it was sort of like, it was talking about Kevin Feige, where, saying, well, he's taken his position he's putting his position on the line to bring all this LGBT stuff to the MCU. And the reality is you are, but you aren't. You're doing it because you're trying desperately to appease this audience that's not going to be an audience, that has never panned out to be an audience. So yeah, that's I guess for me, because it's yeah, for me, these are the water is what kind of articles where I don't even bother reading them. It's basically, you hear it, you see it, you go, yeah, of course it's an article. So, going around trying to find other news or just something interesting, because a lot of this stuff really isn't interesting to me. I saw this on CBR, which is David Finch's Dark Knight's death metal full color variant. And yeah, I want this cover. I don't care about the comic inside. Like, I technically just want this. I technically just want this poster. And really, I just want it, of course, for Superman, because I love Superman and I love the Superman with long hair, because I don't know why. I don't know why, but I do like long hair on guys. And I think this just looks really good on Superman. I love it. I don't care about the insides, but I love this cover and I want this cover so badly, so bad. And that's literally the only interest that I had in this. The only interest that I had in this article is just this cover, and I want this as a poster. That's it. So the last thing is this article on Bleeding Fool, which, as I did see this morning, because I did see this morning, and it's probably because I just missed it last night, because, like I said, I was working, so I wasn't necessarily paying attention to everything going on online. But apparently, I guess it's a rumor, or it's fan speculation, or it's clickbaiting, whatever, about Dan Didio's firing spelling the end of DC. So, of course, Robert Willing at Bleeding Fool just says that comic fans should chill out. And I kind of agree with him on that, because it's a matter of we don't know. Now, he comes from the premise of there's no way that, AT&T and Warner Brothers will get rid of DC. And I've seen others kind of have that same take, but they're not looking at modern business. They're not looking at modern progressive business where, well, yeah, I mean, it's sort of like it's modern progressive business versus traditional business. And, I don't think that 5G itself will spell the end for DC. I think if they want it to be successful, it's going to take some work. But, because this is something that I've been thinking about. And like I said, it's something that it gives me both hope and it scares me a bit because of the implications involved, because we don't know what they're going to be doing. We don't know what they're going to be doing. And because because when you look at what AT&T has been doing for, things like Rooster Teeth and Crunchyroll and Cartoon Network, yeah, I honestly don't believe that DC Comics is safe because we just want it to be safe. I don't think that anything that is a property that they figure that they can own and utilize, nothing is really safe. Like, corporate business is vastly different because nothing is safe in corporate business. And DC has become extremely part of a corporation. And, for some business, and AT&T has said, they are about their bottom line, and this is what happens when businesses become a monopoly, like AT&T, like Disney. You know, when you become a monopoly and you begin purchasing everything, not everything is going to survive. And, we may be comic book fans. We may be trying to have hope. We may, believe that comics will never go away or anything like that. But it's sort of like in conversations I've had with people about part of why I protect my right to have the Second Amendment. And it's because, if we don't protect certain things, other things will be taken away because it'll be a lot easier to do. And, I think a lot of times we just kind of have this attitude that if it's something that I like, it'll never go away. And I can say this because I look at here in Chicago where we had Carson's, and it recently a couple of years ago, it went bankrupt and it ended up closing all the stores, and it had been open for over 100 years. And, Sears is now having the same kind of trouble. These places that have been open for over hundreds of years have had trouble, and a lot of them are closing. Now, Carson's is attempting to come back because they figure, well, we have all this history and they're starting out much smaller. And that is kind of the thing. AT&T has said they have no sacred cows. Therefore, they really would have no issues of just seeing any of this as being just IPs to own, because at the end of the day, what they are more concerned about is where they would make more money, which would be in movies, which would be in this HBO Max app that they're trying to get together. These are the things that they want to concentrate on. They're going to want to concentrate on where they are going to make money. Dan Didio has lost them a lot of ground over his tenure because of decisions that he has made. Now, it shouldn't be a barrier to them finding someone who maybe knows what they're doing, but it's sort of like what I see with Disney. Part of the problem is it depends on who you get in. Disney did well when they put the creative and the business-minded person together over something extremely creative, because you can kind of let the creativity fly and have someone who kind of reels back from, kind of like reel you back in from the extremely crazy things that are not going to work. But how committed is AT&T to that? It depends on who is in charge of these kind of decisions, because if they decide we just want to put a numbers person, we just want to put a business person, and they do like Disney did, where where Disney put Bob Iger in charge, who Bob Iger, for all that he says that he's a creative, you can really tell that he is not, because he doesn't run Disney in a way that is creative. It is literally about the bottom dollar, and we want to make money and we want to milk people for all that they have. You put a person like that in charge of DC, yeah, that could do a heck of a lot more damage. You put someone in there who can't be moderated, yeah, that would be extremely dangerous. So it is, and I can see, that it would be a real kind of balancing game. And it still depends on what AT&T wants to do. And so, that's why I say I don't know, because it could go either way. Having gotten rid of Dan Didio could be good, could be bad. I don't mind it simply because I want my Superman back. But they didn't get rid of Brian Michael Bendis. They got rid of Dan Didio. So it could be a crapshoot. They could have had many plans for, this 5G reboot. It could all crumble. So many things can happen because we don't know what's going on at that executive level. And we don't know what's going on at the executive level at AT&T because we don't know what it is that they are looking for. they would have no problems shutting down the comics division and farming out stuff just to get it done cheaply. Of course they wouldn't, because it's a corporation. Corporations worry more about the money than they worry about what people actually want. And so that's why, that's kind of like just my thoughts on this article that I went through really quickly. I do think that we should take a wait and see kind of attitude. I do think that we should, because, there kind of is no choice, because, rumors can get out of control, and, we want to be correct as much as possible. Certainly I would like to be correct more as possible, which is why I normally don't try to tackle rumors too much, because, rumors can go either way. They can be true or they can be false. And, a lot of the speculation, you can speculate all you want, but sometimes if you just wait a little bit, you can get a clear answer. But I did find this interesting just because, sort of his attitude, who wrote the article, that fans should just chill out because he doesn't think it's the end of DC. Okay. 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 And I'll just leave it at that. We'll wait and see, because again, I get his point, because he's looking at people who are purely clickbaiters and would love DC to fail just so that they can get them clicks for drama and, and say, I told you so, sort of thing. So I'm going to give him credit. I'm going to give him credit on that, because that is kind of a worry. I, on the other hand, am not sure what any of it means, because who knows what AT&T is going to do, because that is who I'm looking at when it comes to this whole thing. So yeah, that's kind of like this video. I want this cover. I really want this cover. I think it is beautiful, and I want it in poster size. And that's kind of what I'm going to end on. So if you like this, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, do the bell stuff for notifications, share this, do all of that, and I will see you on the next video. Bye.